and welcome to It's Fate. I'm Morgan Barker.
I'm Katie Christiansen.
And this is episode 16, where we are covering chapters 11 through 16 of A Court of Wings and Ruin.
This is kind of a big episode, I just realized, because a lot of podcasts don't make it past episode, 15?
That's right. Yes.
Look at us.
Gosh. Congratulations to us. We're celebrating with pasta dinner, salad, and bread.
Perfect.
Yeah. We need some wine or something. Why do you look so much taller than me in the camera?
I think because you're leaning to the side and I'm...
Are you taller than me in real life?
Yeah. How tall are you?
5'3".
I'm 5'5".
Oh my gosh. Okay. I had no idea. I just picture us as the same.
I have a problem with picturing myself taller than I am.
You think you're taller than
I think I'm 5'7". In my head, I am 5'7".
In my head, I'm 4'2". So everyone's taller than me.
Except me.
No, you're the same height. So we're both 4'2" in my head.
I love it.
Oh my gosh. Okay, before I ask our Pequot, I wanted to give a little shout out to your haircut. We forgot to talk about it last week. Looks so good.
Thanks.
I love it. What made you cut your hair?
If you can't see, I now have a fuck-ass bob. And I love it.
A fab.
Mm-hmm. What made me cut my hair? I don't know. I've had long hair for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
The last time my hair was short, I was 4 years old.
Yeah. So it just grown to that, basically. Right?
Yeah.
As a 4-year-old?
Yeah. I was really bald for a long time. So, and I just had really long hair for a long time. And I was I've been thinking about it for, people are always don't cut your hair, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, I've been thinking about this for 6 months. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love it.
It looks so good.
Thanks.
I really like it.
Thank you.
Anyway, just wanted to shout out your hair and now shout out our outfits.
Yeah. Since we're traveling to the spring court, we wore some fall. Not the spring court. Oh my gosh.
The autumn court.
Autumn
I was
court.
wait, where are we going?
We are traveling to the autumn court with Lucien and Vera. So we're wearing our autumn colors.
Yes, we are going to reflect the trees or the leaves of the trees of the autumn court with our copper and our mustard yellow and all the fall. Makes me want fall.
I love fall.
Me too. Okay, time for our Pequot personal question of the episode. Which court's power would you want? Not which court would you want to live in, which power. So we have night is darkness, day is spell cleaving / light, dawn is healing, summer is water, spring is shape-shifting and wind, autumn is fire, and winter is ice. We don't really ever get winter's power on display, but my Googling said that it is probably ice, which makes sense.
Yeah. Honestly, this was really hard because, we've talked about it. I love water.
Yeah.
But, I've also love healing. Dawn.
I know. I was thinking healing too.
Yeah. It probably speaks to our personalities.
I agree. It's funny because I'm fire or healing?
Okay.
I like our opposites.
Okay. I also thought ice sounded kind of cool. I don't know.
It's all cool.
Yeah. I finished Crescent City 3. I'm not going to ruin it for Morgan, but this one character does have ice powers.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Well, Dorian uses ice in Throne of Glass.
Yeah. So I feel like getting more info on the ice powers, I was this is kind of cool.
I like it.
Yeah.
I know. Even spell cleaving.
Yeah.
That would be really neat to just have all these spells at your fingertips. They're all cool.
We have no power, so I'll take any.
Same. Whatever's being given to me. Oh my goodness.
Bless us, Cauldron.
With any power.
Okay.
We won't act like Nesta. We promise.
I promise I won't. Dump me in.
Yeah, I'm ready.
I'll be Elaine.
So many people are like, Nesta, get over it. Take me instead.
I know.
Oh my gosh. I get it. It was traumatic.
It wasn't her choice.
We know. We just like to joke, okay? All right, let's get started with our recap.
Okay, chapter 11. We start off with Feyre and Lucien hiking through the autumn court for 6 days, still poisoned by the Faebane, so their magic is not working.
I can't believe it's lasting this long.
I know. It doesn't make sense to me.
I agree.
I'm isn't it it'll pass through your system?
Right. Have they gone number 2 yet?
They're hiking. When people hike, your bowels are not moving.
Really? I'm not much of a
Me
hiker.
either. I hike like sometimes. My husband, Ty, hiked Mount Whitney.
Oh, I
For
have a
Boy
friend who did
Scouts.
that like every
Mhm.
year for a long time.
Yeah, and he was like telling me, I mean, yeah, that some people can have a hard time because you're like dehydrated and,
I get
all
it.
this stuff.
And
So,
you're like around people.
yeah,
People
you're
get
like in the
like
woods.
poop embarrassment,
Yeah.
right?
There's
That's a
people who
thing.
don't go at work.
I know. I know somebody, which I doubt she's listening, but if she is, shout out. I won't say your name. You know who you are. She used to leave work and drive to the closest Target. She would like poop in public, just not at her place of work.
I get it.
I don't.
Well, I don't, but like I can understand. Look,
How do you time it so perfectly for a break?
I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know. Anyway,
enough about that. So Farrah says that Reese is probably wondering why their bond has gone dark. Does this mean the bond only works with magic? Because I was thinking about if a fae and a human are mated, how does that work?
I think so. I think, well, we get like little snippets. Reese was like kind of bonded with Feyre before. Like he would like kind of get like glimpses of her life before then. But their bond became stronger when she was Fae, so I guess so.
Yeah, like they're just like they can't communicate anymore.
Yeah, it's kind of weird too, because like their bond, like you don't feel as bonded. I don't know.
I don't know either. Very odd.
Do we know how long Lucien has been in the Spring Court?
No.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I think whenever his lover was killed, that's when he left, but I don't know when that was.
I don't think we ever get a timeline because they went to a cave to like hide. A little old cave
that's
hideout.
right. And it was like had his stuff in it. It had his
stuff in it. And I was like, oh, is it? And Feyre was like, oh yeah, it just seemed like really unused. And I'm like, okay, like how unused? How long ago was this?
Because I would have guessed he was gone for like 100 years.
Me too.
Is that stuff wouldn't that stuff have like decayed?
That's what I thought. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows?
And okay, something else. Feyre and Lucien like barely talk, but they like sometimes do on their little hiking.
And they're like pissed at each other.
Yeah. And Lucien mentions that like he only wants to go to the night court to make sure, like only for Elaine and only to make sure that she's safe. And he almost like questions Feyre's like love and commitment to her sisters.
Yes.
This pissed me off.
He was like kind of made it seem as if she didn't want Lucien there, then she doesn't have Elaine's best interest in heart because he's her mate.
Yeah. It was, to me, it just felt very like possessive. And especially when Feyre spent like half of the whole, like a quarter of, like when she met him, ACOWAR, in the Spring Court, half of that time she was like worried about her family. She spent all of her teenage and young years protecting them. She clearly loves her sister.
I think that this is like the mated thing. I think they even, bring light to it. I think Reese even talks about it, how there's definitely the alpha hole vibe that comes out with a mated male, especially at first.
I don't like this.
You don't like?
I don't like it. I'm just thinking like, okay, could you imagine if like you just met your husband or like whatever? Even if you liked him, and he was like, and your like sister was like, oh, I'm kind of concerned for your safety. You like, and your husband's like, no, listen, like, what? You'd be like, dude, this is my sister.
I would be like not okay with that even now, being married to him for 7 years.
I don't know. I don't like it.
Oh my goodness.
Well, and I bring this up multiple times, so I'm sorry if I repeat myself, but I just really don't like this like
this vibe that comes out. And I do think it's not a Lucien thing. Like I really think it comes out with any mated male at the beginning. It's just Lucien is struggling. He's struggling hard. I love as they're walking through the forest, Feyre describes Lucien as if he was like crafted from the forest and how he just blends right in. I thought that was really cool. And at one point they stopped to eat apples, and Feyre says she initially thought she would never eat again after eating the one laced with Faebane, but hunger always blurs the lines for her. And I was like, another moment where Feyre, I feel you. I'll be like, no, I'm never eating again. Oh, cookies? Yeah. Okay, sounds good.
Okay. since you've had a baby
Mm-hmm.
and we're pregnant, do you have any like foods that you were like really nauseous on or like just gross you out still?
I never had anything. There was actually only one thing specific, and it was the smell of cooking red meat. Like, not already cooked, but while it was cooking, I remember.
Like bloody almost.
Yeah, I made a roast in the crock pot, and I like left for work, and I came home, and I was just like, I literally threw the whole thing away. Like the potatoes, the carrots, everything, because it was all mixed in, and I was really sad about. Actually, no, I didn't throw it away. I put it in the freezer, thinking we'd eventually eat it. We never did, because I was just so grossed out. But other than that, no. One of the weird things though that stuck with me is now if I get hungry, I get nauseous. Like that happened in pregnancy, and it still is that way. If I get too hungry, I feel like I'm gonna vomit.
That's happened to me before. I also notice that sometimes I get really sleepy when I'm dehydrated.
I think that's normal.
I know, but I like will be like, oh, I need to drink water.
Yeah. I'm gonna. I know sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm so tired. I need more caffeine. No,
you don't need to
water.
dehydrate.
I don't need to. Yeah, more. I don't need to make it worse.
Okay, so then we also learn more about Lucien's past and kind of his like family. Something I noticed is that he was always just an outcast with his family. I also forgot he was the youngest.
Me too.
Which I think plays a role. And maybe that plays a role in his like sense of like belonging to Elaine.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah.
And even just his relationship with Tamlin too. I also think that, well, when we learn here is that it seemed as if Lucien was maybe like set up to be High-Lord. Like maybe he has a lot of power.
Yeah. That's why his brothers were always on him. Yeah. Because they were like, oh, you're really powerful.
Yeah. And I mean, we'll get to it soon, but I like getting to see Lucien's power. I want to see more of it.
Me too. We really haven't seen a lot of it.
None. I don't think we saw any in ACOWAR.
I don't think so either. You're right. Interesting. I wonder why. Very interesting. So then they make it to the edge of the border between Autumn Court and Winter Court, and they still don't have more than a flicker of their power back. And again, this is a long time.
I know. My goodness.
Then they risk a fire to stay warm, but wake up to Lucien's brothers.
Dun, dun, dun. Feyre and Lucien escape from Eris and the other brothers, and they flee towards the Winter Court. And the brothers, I think it was Eris, who was like basically insinuating that Feyre and Lucien must be hooking up, and that's why they're traveling alone together, and that's why they left Tamlin. And I'm like, why is that always the first thought?
Because
why can't they just be friends?
No, because he sees women as objects, and he's like, the only reason you would ever help a female is because you want to bang her.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. So that just, I was like, okay, you're a tool. We already know that, but now it's just even more so. They huddle in a freezing cave for safety, and I mean, you know, it could have been a body warmth trope, but
they're not like that.
I love that they're just friends. I really do.
I think, so they're kind of talking about like Elaine, and Lucien's asking like questions about her. And I love that Feyre says that Elaine liked to work in her own garden. She liked to weed. She liked to be in the dirt and all of those things. And I feel like this is a really important little detail. Like Elaine doesn't want to be pampered. Elaine doesn't want to like, she doesn't want to be around blooming flowers. She wants to dig in and do the work.
Yeah. I think that people who say they don't like Elaine, because a lot of people are like, oh, she's so boring. It's not that she's boring. It's that we don't have her perspective yet. I think they're just not picking up on these little things where we actually learn some cool tidbits about her. And whenever we do get her story, I think all those people are going to eat their words.
Yeah. So like Nesta.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And I still hate Nesta in this book. Like I can look at this and be like, I hate who you are right now, and also recognize that
she's gross.
She has so much growth. I did think it was interesting that when Feyre told Lucien that Elaine is engaged to a human, Lucien doesn't get extremely territorial. And it's almost like he realizes for the first time, oh, Elaine isn't just automatically his. I was like, thank you. You should have known this already. But here we are.
I kind of like it, you know, because a lot of the times, I mean, so far, like, I mean, the only real relationship we've had is like Feyre and Lucien and Feyre and Reese,
Uh-huh.
but like I like this little dynamic.
With Elaine and Lucien.
Mhm.
I know. I'm just so curious how it's gonna go.
Okay, again, Lucien was annoying me. He's like
I'm
fine.
I love that Lucian's being so different here, and you're like, yeah, he bugs me.
Well, I just feel okay. He accuses Feyre of falling in love with Reese when she was with Tamlin, and
Mhm.
even like being like, oh, maybe it even happened under the mountain. And I'm like, do you?
Come on.
Yeah, I'm a little bit like, come on, Lucien, like believe your friend. You're like,
I know.
well,
go ahead.
maybe it's a hard thing because you just did like backstep and trade.
I know.
So.
But I think that Lucien is projecting a lot of hurt that he felt from Feyre. Like, I think he is having a hard time understanding and contemplating why she would have left. And obviously, he's not able to really see outside himself in this moment. If he did, he would realize that it had nothing to do with him. In fact, he maybe could have done something about it, but didn't. And I think he's just projecting a little bit of that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. Lucien gets all sappy and basically tells Feyre, oh, look at that she also left him. And then they wake up to Eris and the two brothers again.
I love that these two brothers are never named.
No, we never get it. It's Eris, the brothers, and Lucien.
Which there's 7 of them.
This is only a few.
Yeah. Aren't there 7 of them?
I think so.
Yeah, I'm like,
that's
okay.
a lot of kids.
That's a ton, especially for
the Fae. Yeah, because it's like rare to have any children.
His mom's fertile.
I mean, maybe she got no, never mind. I was gonna say maybe she got something from the Dawn Court. Where's Hellion from? Dawn or Day?
Day.
But Lucien was last, so
Lucien was
doesn't
last.
work that way.
No. Okay, and then in chapter 13, we see Eris and his two brothers they fight and capture Feyre and Lucien, but Cassian and Azriel arrive to save them.
Woohoo!
There's this scene where Feyre like looks up at Cassian, and the way Cassian is described, it just reminds me of like a bird, like a proud bird, because he was like standing there and his wings were tucked, and I just imagine like an eagle or something.
Yes,
it was just so funny to me.
I love that. Feyre also said that she thought Eris and the brothers wouldn't attack if they made it to the Winter Court. Why do you think she thought this?
I think because that's a risky move.
Yeah.
I think it's like you're fighting on someone else's land. That's it. You can get the Winter Court involved, and that could be risky.
Yeah, that's true. And then, in this moment, Feyre announces that she is High Lady, which I just loved it. This is literally like an act of war then. And they have no idea.
No. I think that's why they pause.
I think so too. Do you think Eris would have attacked if he had known that Feyre was High Lady of the Night Court?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I think in the Autumn Court, he still would have been like, well, why is your High Lady here? But going into the Winter Court, that is risky.
I agree.
Yeah. Then, okay, they fly away, and Azriel carries Lucien.
Like a baby.
I need fan art of Lucien carrying, just like cradling.
Somebody make it. Get an AI on it.
Oh, it's so good. So good.
Oh my gosh, did they like look at each other?
They stared into each other's eyes.
Pharaoh's always like, I locked eyes with so-and-so or whatever, and like
maybe the real love triangle is not Azriel, Elaine, and Gwen. Maybe it's Azriel, Lucien, and Elaine.
Well, that's an option, but maybe it's Azriel and Lucien who may end up together.
True. We don't know.
I'm trying to picture them and their dynamic. I don't know.
A emo, brooding, mysterious guy with this like Lucien's very like he's kind of like a funny, cocky. I think it would work
because Lucien's like a less brute version of Cassian, kind of.
Yeah, a little bit more. I would say like clever.
Yes. Yeah. Which maybe that would work. The spy master side of him. They're kind of both spies.
Yeah.
Okay.
We also get to know Lucien's last name, which I feel like is really important because we don't get a lot of last names we don't even know Reese's last name.
No, it's super weird too because later they make a big deal. They're like, you didn't know his surname?
Yeah.
And it's like, we don't know any of your surnames.
No. I don't know.
Whatever.
But his last name is Vansera,
Yes.
which is not a real name. And there's kind of two different words or like little phrases in there. So Van could mean in the British marsh.
Okay.
In Dutch it could mean of.
Okay.
And Sarah in Latin means saw.
Okay.
In Italian it means greenhouse.
Elaine.
I know. And in several different languages it means mountain range. So I feel like because it's also mysterious, it's like a little bit like, oh, who is Lucian?
Yeah, what's he gonna be? And remember, Lucian means light. So like light of the greenhouse?
Light of mountain range?
Yeah. Or like, is the greenhouse Elaine's life?
Yeah, I don't know.
Or light of the mountain range, like something that's gonna help transform the night court in some positive way.
Yeah.
I don't know. I love that.
Very interesting. Then they make their way to the 8th territory where no High Lord rules, and they find more waiting there. I always forget that this 8th territory where the Weaver lives.
Oh, that's what I was about to ask. So it's like that foresty area, right? And this is where the marsh is and Silver Flames too, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I always forget it exists. Like when I picture Prithian.
I know. I'm gonna have to look at the map again. It's like right in the middle.
It's in the middle.
Okay. Because it's spring, autumn, winter, marsh.
Which is
summer?
the mountain.
No, summer's before the mountain.
Summer's
too.
before.
Or before the marsh, right?
Yeah.
Or the strip.
Yeah.
And then the above the strip is the celestial courts, right?
The timing. The time. Yeah.
Yeah. Right? That's what they call them? Seasonal and celestial. Yep.
I don't know.
All right. Moving
Sounds
on.
good to me. Okay. I also was thinking about, like, I'm sure Lucian knows who Moore is.
Yeah.
How much does he know about Moore and Eris's history?
Well, this is why I want a legit timeline. Like, did you ever make those timelines in history class in elementary school? Like,
yes.
Yeah. I want one because I want to know when Lucian left the Autumn Court and when Moore and Eris's circumstance and, you know, all that stuff happens. Is that because if that's after he left, maybe he doesn't know a lot. But if it was before, he was obviously privy to it. So
yeah, and probably not in on it. His brothers did not seem, his dad did not seem like they liked Lucian very much,
and I don't think Lucian would have participated.
I don't think so either.
At all. Okay, so then Moore didn't go, right, to help save Farah. And she says it was for strategic. Okay, I'm gonna start that over. Moore says she didn't go to help Farah for strategic reasons, but it's obvious that this was partially for Eris, and it's even obvious to Farah. Farah says she understands. Do you? Like, how would you feel about this? Okay, let me paint you a picture, okay? It's been hundreds of years, right? I'm not saying the trauma isn't still there.
Yeah.
Your high lady is in peril, and you don't go because of like the person who's hurting them.
I think it really shows how buried Moore keeps this. Like, she doesn't even want to see this guy, which is totally understandable.
Absolutely.
But it's also like, it's very unlike her.
I was kind of surprised. And I don't think, personally, any other character could get away with this. I think it would be called out more. But I don't know. It was just interesting to me. And obviously, Cassian and Azriel were there. So it's not like she needed to go. I would hope that if she needed to go, she would have gone. But I was just kind of like, oh, that was a very like bold move of her to not go because it was her high lady.
Yeah.
You know? So it just made me think a little bit. But I think you have a good point that it's still
so raw for her.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And then Moore winnows them to the townhouse.
Yes. Lucian meets the inner circle, or the ragtag gang. I'll never forget that. That was so good.
And this is when Lucian is like, no, I don't use my last name.
Yeah.
And then I was thinking, Farah doesn't really use hers either. Why do you think Farah chooses not to go by Archeron?
I think nobody uses them. I think it's just not a thing.
I think some people do. Like, Nesta will be like, yeah, Nesta Archeron.
Will she?
I think Feyre makes it a point of like,
Not
I'm
using it?
Feyre the curse breaker. I'm Feyre High Lady. I'm Feyre, but I don't think she's like, yeah, I'm Feyre.
Did that
Archeron.
change after she became High Lady?
No,
Like she never used it?
I feel like she always was kind of like not
just didn't want to associate with that.
Yeah. Why do you think?
I don't know. Maybe she's trying to leave that life behind her. I could understand why she's not using it at this point, but looking back, especially thinking of like how much she wanted to return to her family and how she always had the dream of like having her dad with her. And so I wonder if it's a little subconscious. Like she's not intentionally doing it, but secretly she actually has no desire to return to her family.
Yeah. And maybe this like, I know she loves her dad and she doesn't feel, not that Nesta doesn't love her dad, but like she doesn't feel hatred like Nesta does. But I wonder if it's like, yeah, this is my family name. But like I basically took care of myself.
Yeah.
Like I'm Feyre.
Yeah.
I'm not this Archeron like.
Yeah, like I did it.
Yeah.
I clawed myself out of the worm pit. That's all I could think of. Okay, when Lucian's only response to being in Valaris is there are children laughing in the streets, and he like says it a few times, it really hit me how dark they pictured the Night Court being. Like the fact that there's just a child laughing is like the most wild thought.
I think like the Spring Court, we don't ever really hear about children in the Spring Court either. So I think it's like, wait, you have children here and they're like happy.
And it's a city.
Yeah.
But he's visited other courts, so he's probably visited other cities. But still, yeah, it's just like, there's joy here.
Yeah.
What's that? It's crazy. Rhys and Feyre have an emotional reunion, and we get updated on the aftermath of the events at the Spring Court.
There's rumors and kind of talk of rebellion within the Spring Court. And it made me wonder how rebellions work if being a High Lord is passed down through family lines. Like, how do they choose a new one? Like, what is that? Like, do they have to like slaughter Tamlin, or do they like just?
Well, does Tamlin have any family?
It would just go to his like next of kin, whoever that is.
I mean, we don't even know if he has cousins or anything.
It could be 10th cousin, right? It would be some like so far removed.
Yeah. Wow, interesting. That's a good point. I have no idea. He'd probably have to die.
I think so.
Because that's the only way like Tamlin and Rhysand became High Lords is because their dads died. Rhys kicks everyone out and they, get all spicy with each other. And Rhys offers to take Feyre to see her sisters, but she can tell that he wants her first. What do you think of her choice to see her sisters after sexy time?
I mean, girl hasn't seen her mate for like a long time.
No, but her freaking sisters just went through this trauma. I don't know. I mean, I guess a quickie.
I probably would have been like, no, let's go to my sisters first.
I feel like I would have gone to my sisters first.
Yeah, but Feyre doesn't feel that way.
No, I know. I was like, okay,
she gets
all right, girl.
the sniff of the smells.
The sniff of the smells. That sniff of the smells just got her going.
Got her going.
Oh.
So Feyre's obviously like super gross and dirty from traveling and hiking around. And Rhys magics the dirt away, and Feyre's like, why do I even have to take a bath if you could do that? And I'm like, ew.
No, because then he's like, no, the dirt's still there. Yeah. Really, it's just disappeared.
I'm like, don't you feel like you stink?
Yeah. He literally tells her, he's like, no, you're still grimy. I just made it look like you aren't.
She's used to being dirty. She probably didn't take a bath that much, so she's like, I'm clean.
Oh, yes, that's right. She's like, I took my bath last month. Why do I need to take another one? Oh my goodness.
Okay, this one part made me laugh out loud. When they're flirting, Rhys is like so excited that Feyre was like finally admitted that she was High Lady to someone. And he was like, I've been wanting to roar from the rooftop.
You hate roaring.
I know, but I thought it was so funny. He was like, I want to roar from the rooftops that you were Hi Lady from the second that like we did it or whatever. And she told him, she was like, okay, now you can go crow it from the rooftops. And I literally like pictured Reese.
Please do it. Please do
like
it.
a little like rooster or something. Cock-a-doodle-doo!
She's a Hi Lady! Woo!
I think that was a really good use of the word crow.
I've never heard it used that way.
I love it.
Also, I love that we took crow and roar and turned it into a rooster. Like, roosters don't crow or roar.
They crow. No,
they cock-a-doodle-doo.
What would you imagine a crow is like? Oh, like a crow?
That's all I thought of. What
That
is
makes
crow? The
verb?
Like the crow's a verb?
I think it's using it as a verb.
Yeah, but what does it mean as a verb?
What does a crow sound like? That's not a crow. That's like
Squawk.
a parrot.
It's like no, birds go caw. Crows go caw. Caw.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's what he did.
He wants to go caw. Riley. Roar.
I just love that like Farrah teases him.
I know it's so good.
Cute.
I love it.
Okay, she also mentions some calloused hands. Are you a fan of the calloused hands?
I don't think it bothers me.
I
think it's like
either.
kind of hot.
Me too.
It's like, ooh, you've done some hard work,
Me
or
too.
like you have scars and stories and whatnot.
What about magic hands?
Okay, so is this like Dorian's magic hands?
Like wind hands.
I don't know how I feel about it, but I am very curious. Like curious enough that I would say absolutely, let's try this out.
Yeah, you have 4 hands. You can have as many hands as you need.
I know, but what would it feel like? Would it feel? I need to know.
I don't know either. I wonder
Someone
if they would
invent
feel
this technology. I'll buy it.
Magic hands.
Okay, so then they're like, gonna do it.
Do it.
They're gonna do it. Okay, keeping it PG. And Reese always vanishes his clothes away. Where do they go? And is it like I picture them like coming off of him and like flying away somewhere? But I think they're just gone.
I think they're just gone.
Just like a
I like
poop.
the flying away though.
Me too.
Bye.
Do you think they just like go back to his closet?
I think so. Or I think he puts them in his like little storage unit.
His little hamper or something?
I think he says that there's like the magic pocket.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's referred to a bit in these books.
Yeah. So maybe they go there.
There's also, during their lovemaking, there's constant use of claws stroking their mind walls. And this just makes me think of nails on a chalkboard.
Yeah.
Like, I don't find it hot.
I think it's supposed to be like reminiscent of like scratching.
Yeah, but why can't they just say like a stroke? Like, why does it have to be a claw?
Yeah.
Like, he stroked my mind wall.
You can write it.
Okay. I'm on it. Alternate sex scene.
Spice rating.
Yes.
Which this is,
I gotta think back.
I know. I love our horrible.
No, the jump
rating.
from pineapple salsa to sriracha is kind of big.
It's fine. I love it.
I feel like everything's gonna be sriracha or Cholula.
In here, yeah. Maybe I think in Stellar Fams we're gonna get some tapatio.
I think so too.
Which is fine with me.
I think this was more sriracha.
I think so too.
Yeah. We're pretty much the same when it comes to these.
Yeah. Okay, and in chapter 15, Feyre meets Lucien downstairs and asks him if he wants to go to the House of Wind to meet her sisters. Feyre kind of mentions that her and Reese exchange rings and vows. Like she thinks of it. Do you think they'd ever have like a huge wedding?
I would like that, but I don't think so.
I feel like Reese would like that, but I don't think Feyre would.
I think Feyre is too traumatized by her past wedding. I don't think
I don't
ever
blame
again.
her.
However, I think it would be healing. Like it would replace that, like that negative wedding with something positive. But it would be hard.
And I think Reese would decorate it all. I don't
Reese
think
would do all the work.
He really would. She would just have
my
to show
kind of
up.
man.
Honestly, I hated planning my wedding, so
I like it. I just love like my husband likes stuff like that too. Like he likes nice things. If I'm getting home decor, he wants to come with me, and I love that. And he like the other day I went to brunch with some girlfriends, and he's like, I need friends that'll go to brunch with me. I need friends in touch with their feminine side. And I was thinking of Ty. I was like, Ty would go to brunch with Michael.
Ty would go to brunch,
right?
Yeah, he loves a brunch.
Yeah, me too. Like just ask a dude to brunch. It's fine.
I know, but it's hard to be a man.
It's so hard.
Have friends sometimes.
I know. Men have it so rough.
worse than women.
I know. I mean, it's not like it's a man's world or anything.
Well, speaking of a man, Lucien looks very disgusted between seeing Reese and Farrah like all lovey-dovey, and I'm like, okay, Lucien, we get it. You don't like him. I get it.
You also don't know him.
Yeah.
Give him a chance.
Give him a chance with his magic hands.
So Farrah notes that like Lucien is still in his bloodied clothes, and all I could think of was, Lucien, you're gonna go meet your mate in your bloodied 7-day-old clothes that you hiked in. Not a good look.
Why didn't come on, Reese?
I know. I also had a few moments throughout these chapters where I'm like, Farrah, you're not being a very good host.
Yeah.
Like, come on. I know eventually they give him like clothes and a bath, but I'm like,
yeah, they probably should have had him do that before.
Yeah, or just, I don't know. Anyway.
They probably were like, it's fine. She's supposed to love him because that's her mate, so she doesn't find mine. Yeah, bloody, stinky.
If she can't be with him after a week without showering, she's not good enough for him.
Okay, at the townhouse, Farrah gives Lucien the whole story of her and Reese.
Mm-hmm.
Lucien mentions that Amren was told as like a scary bedtime story in the autumn court to make children behave.
I loved this.
I was like, what the hell has what the hell has Amren done?
We still
to scare people.
We never get Amren's full story.
That's terrifying. I'm more scared of her now.
I think I don't know. Yeah, if she was in the prison,
yeah,
she has to be really.
I think
has been really evil.
Yeah, I think I think it's great that her body she's like very petite and like strikingly beautiful, and I think it's like this great like contrast between like she's maybe a demon,
literally, like she's this little petite box, but she never looks. She's like a scowler. She's not.
She's not sweet.
No, she's more like Nesta in that way. Mm-hmm. I love that Lucien was finally brought into the side of the narrative. It's about time. Can you imagine having everything you believe to be true about a whole group of people be proven wrong? And he even makes a statement. He's like, so I didn't like realize I was the villain in your story, which he's not really, but like, can you imagine having that perspective shift and just suddenly realizing like your whole life was kind of a lie?
Yes.
You can. Oh, yeah.
Especially my husband. Who,
yeah.
I don't care about talking about this. I actually love to talk about it. I have religious trauma, and I left a cult. And you can tell me it's not a cult. I had cult-like experiences. If you don't, that's fine. I don't care. Be happy. Be who you are. But I do know how it feels to be like, wait, the world is not what I thought. This is not what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
And so it is very disorienting, and you don't know who you are, and you don't know. You feel like a newborn. Wow. You feel like you're going through puberty again. You know, when you're like, oh my God, like.
I blocked it out. I don't remember.
Exactly. It's traumatizing.
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. No, but it's good.
I think what you said gives a lot of perspective into Lucien from this point out. Of like, it seems like throughout the next few books, he's just trying to figure out who he is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I get that. Maybe I should be nicer to Lucien and connect with him and our drama together.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, he's real, so you should really give him the benefit of the doubt here.
Okay. Farrah or Ness, who mentions this? I don't have a note, but
Nesta. Nesta's like, she hasn't asked about him.
Yeah.
By the way, because she's all snotty.
Yeah, Nesta's like, she doesn't care about Lucien. Why do you think Elaine did never ask about him? And if you were her, would you have asked about him?
Okay. I want to say yes, I would, but I don't think I would have, because if I were her, I would be so caught up in my fiance and being like, that's who I'm worried about. That's who I'm asking about. I don't think I would be like, well, who's this other guy?
Well, not that she has to be like interested in him, but being like, who was that? Like,
maybe. Yeah, maybe more of like a who was that, or what did he mean by mates? Like, what does that mean? Mm-hmm. But clearly I think she is all consumed.
Yeah. And I think it's hard too, because we know that Nesta and her have like some kind of power, but at this point we don't know what they are. So, you know, she can be lost in her thoughts and we see that. Like, she's kind of lost. She's really sad. So they find Nesta in the library reading, and she tells them that like Elena's not okay at all. And Feyre notices Cassian's longing stares.
Look at that.
How do you think Nesta right now is really feeling about turning Fae and potentially maybe her having a mate like Elaine?
I think she is not feeling a single thing. She is like shove it all down. Stone.
Mm-hmm.
She does not like
sometimes that works.
Not
for a little bit.
Not forever. Eventually, your dam will break. I'm reminded all over again of why I hate Nesta in this point of her life. Like, I don't expect her to be happy hunky-dory at all. But she's so hateful. And she's always been hateful towards Feyre. And I still, even after reading Silver Flames, I'm still like, I don't get it. Like, I don't get why you were so hateful towards her specifically. Do you get it after reading Silver Flames?
No.
I feel like that was just like Nesta was a bully, kind of. And Feyre was the easiest target.
Yeah. And it's almost like Nesta resents Feyre for like being able to adapt. Like it's like almost this like I feel like Feyre, it's like funny because I think her and Nesta are very similar, but they almost like can't, they see it but they don't see it at the same time. Like they don't always understand each other because they're so, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, and yeah, we probably dove into this in ACOWAR because she hates her even in ACOWAR when it's like she's literally providing food for you, girlfriend.
I wonder if it's like this like resentment that like Feyre's providing, which makes her dad like enables her dad. Maybe that's how she sees it. Like
that's
Feyre's
a good point.
Enabler. I don't know.
That's a really good point.
Feyre tells Nesta that Lucien is there and refers to him as Elaine's mate, and Nesta freaks out. She's like, he is not her mate. I don't see, again, I'm like, Feyre, why would you bring this up? Like, they don't want Lucien as her mate. Like, Feyre, how did you take down the Spring Court and not, you like can't understand your sister?
Well, do they even really know each other?
No.
But this really rubbed me the wrong way when Nesta did this, because I was like, Nesta, it's not your decision.
No.
You are not Elaine's voice. You are not Elaine's keeper. Like, she gets to make that choice. And I feel like Nesta acts like this for most of the books, where she's just like,
and then Feyre starts acting like that.
Oh yeah,
they coddle her.
Yeah,
I feel bad for her.
Poor Elaine.
Yeah. I would also love a Cassian POV at this time of him just like loving Nesta.
He's just staring at her, just totally in fantasy land.
I love too that like Feyre's, when like Nesta, whenever she's brought up, she's like, she looks absolutely drop dead beautiful, and Cassian's like just staring at her,
and they literally say she's like devastating.
Yeah,
I think she's supposed to be the most beautiful of them all.
I think so too.
Yeah,
I love it.
Me too.
Cassian also warns Nesta that she will learn her lesson if she comes between a male and his mate, and I'm like, that's your freaking sister.
I don't think it matters.
It's gross to me.
In Crescent City 2, I will never forget when Hunt is a ball of freaking lightning on the boat. I still don't fully understand what was happening in that moment. And they were like, don't touch him. He'll kill us all. And they're like his best friends.
Yeah.
Because of something. I don't even remember. Bryce's life was threatened. I don't know.
Yeah. I guess it just feels like it's almost, I feel like, takes away from like other like familial or even like friendship love. I feel like I have a sister. I obviously do not want anything bad to ever happen to my sister. Her partner, he doesn't want anything to happen to her either. But like, he doesn't love her more than me. Like, she's my sister.
I love her
kind
of love.
Yeah. I just feel like it kind of takes away from that.
I get that.
Feyre goes to see Elaine, and she looks super hollow and just wants to go home to her fiance. And when Feyre walks out, Lucien was eavesdropping. What the hell was he thinking?
I would have been eavesdropping. Wouldn't you have been?
No!
What? Are you kidding me? I would absolutely be like,
she told him to wait down there.
No, I would have been like, sure. I'm going to go listen in on this conversation.
I would be scared that Elaine would like see me and like, I just feel like he's already in a bad, like, no one likes him right now. Like, he just needs to follow the rules.
That's true. That's true. Maybe if they gave him clean clothes, he would have listened.
Maybe. He's like, this is your punishment.
Yeah.
Elaine also tells Feyre he'll be looking for me, and Feyre notes
I don't think she said it like that.
No, I think she said it like this. He'll be looking for me.
Literally. He'll be looking for me. She's just crying the whole time.
Yeah.
That sounded scared, but she's sad, not scared. Maybe both.
Probably both.
Yeah.
So Feyre notes that she isn't talking about Lucien. Did she think Elaine would be talking
like
about
what
Lucien?
she's talking about? Of course not.
I think she's like more clarifying for the reader, but I'm like, come on.
It's like, just so you know, dumb reader, she doesn't give a shit about Lucien. Okay,
we got it.
She's thinking about her human lover man. What's they called? Fiance. Thank
What
you.
are they called? I like
word.
how you thanked me. You found the word yourself. Thank you to yourself.
Thank you to me. Oh my gosh. Okay. So chapter 16, they go show Lucien his wing of the house, and basically he's a prisoner. So they're like, yeah, you can come and go as you please, but you can't winnow out of the house. And the only way out is if one of us flies you or you walk down 10,000 steps.
Okay, I'm like, why do you think they don't want Lucien like in the city?
I don't think it's intentional. I really think they were just like, this is where we have space and you can go whenever you want. Oh, but by the way, there's only really hard ways to leave the house. Sorry, figure it out.
Yeah.
I really don't think it was intentional.
I think it was intentional. Maybe not.
I don't know.
It was just weird.
If anything, it would have been a Rhys decision, not a Feyre decision.
Yeah.
Because Rhys is still trying to trust him.
True. I also really don't like Lucien's like character arc right now. I just feel like it has turned into like him like pining over Elaine.
But I think that's the point, like of mates.
I think just like it makes him more shallow to me. Like it doesn't add depth to his character.
I guess. I think that if we had a different perspective when Feyre was with Rhys, that we would have seen Rhys acting a little like this, not towards Feyre, but like with Cat. Like he would have been more of just like a, do you think she's thinking about me?
Yeah.
Do you think she'll ever leave Tamlin for me? Like I think we would have got that.
I think you're right.
I really do. And I know they don't even know each other, so it's weird, but it is kind of romantic.
It is. Come
on, Katie.
It is. Love at first sight. I get it.
Okay, so they fly to Amren's house where Mor and Asriel are waiting, and there's an info dump about Miriam and Dracon, King of Hybern, and the continent. And I just love how blunt Amren is, because the first thing she says, she's like, well, let's solve this problem by killing the Autumn Court and making the handsome one as in Lucien, the High King. And she's just like, I just imagine her saying it's so flatly, like, we'll just kill them all and make the handsome one High Lord. They're like, no.
They're like, that you would kill 7 people.
Yeah.
7 people to get Lucien.
And if Amren could do that without a problem, then they wouldn't be worried about this war.
I kind of love that she called him handsome, because I feel like many times Feyre doesn't really, like, she'll describe Lucien, but she's not like, oh, he's hot.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
Now I want to look back. She probably called him beautiful.
She calls him beautiful, but not like...
No, I know. It was like a cute little tidbit, too, that Amren, like, thinks he's hot. Yeah, I love it.
Okay. Every other day, Cassian goes to, like, offer Nesta to train. He's very persistent. And I wonder if growing up in more of a misogynistic culture and having his own mother presumably, like, raped makes him so passionate about women learning to defend themselves. And I love that he is trying to be like, Nesta, you have to learn how to defend yourself. Yeah. Like, you're an asset. People are going to want to hunt you. I love it.
I do too. I really love this trait about Cassian that we see throughout Nesta's book too, in a large way. Yeah. But yeah, that's a really good note about his past, shaping that for him.
Yeah. So the book, books of breathing.
Yeah, book of breathings.
They're always like talking, they're whispering things. Know. And they call Amren a sweet-faced liar and a princess with, but then she cuts it off before we get it like, no, with what?
She's a Valg. She's a Valg princess. Yeah. Sorry, I just screamed into the microphone. She has to be a Valg princess.
I don't know. I hope so.
I think so. I don't know. Do we learn anything about her in CC3?
Do you want me to tell you or
just
no?
Like a yes or a no. Don't tell me what it is.
No.
Okay.
Her silver eyes are like mentioned, but
Okay.
we don't get like a definitive of like this is who Amryn is.
Okay. I hope we get that eventually.
Me too. Reese and Feyre are like start to call each other mate, like
Oh,
a
yeah.
little pet name. And every time I think about it, I just think of like how Australians like my mate. Hello, mate. That's UK. Sorry if you're from Australia.
It just makes me think of Love Island. Do you ever watch that?
Yes.
Because I think even the British people say the mate thing.
I think so too.
And like, that's my mate.
That's my mate.
That's my mate. I can't do an Australian
either.
accent.
Australian accents are really hard.
Down under with my mate.
There's this video that this is the only way I can do an Australian accent. Me and Ty always.
Is it Nor?
No.
Oh,
it's
okay.
I'm not gonna say it.
Okay.
But me and Ty used to watch this video, and it was Australian guy, and he was a abalone diver. So we're like, this is the only way I can do. We say, hello, I'm an abalone diver.
Because you learned that one thing.
Me and Ty will always be like, abalone diver.
That's
like,
so funny.
So
did you ever watch H2O?
A little bit.
They're Australian.
Yeah.
Right? And there's this iconic scene where they're like, Cleo,
yes.
Nor! And now my sisters and I always do the Nor to each
Yes.
other, and especially after watching Australian Love Island, they do it. And so even some of my other friends who are familiar with that, every time we want to like yell, Nor, we're like, Nor! So that's my Australian shout out. We probably offended so many Australians. All of our Australian listeners.
All less than 1%.
All less than 1% of them.
That's what Spotify tells me.
We apologize.
I'm sorry.
They bring up the 3 Fae territories on the continent quite a bit, right? I don't even remember their names, but they talk about them a lot. Do we think we will see anything happen with them in any future books?
I hope so. I hope they're like become allies. It would be really interesting to kind of learn more about like their governmental structure, because it is different than
there's
Prithian.
Are they kings?
I think they're kings.
I think so too.
Like
Kings
royalty.
and queens. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they talk about Hybern and his view of the world, and it really makes me think of like I imagine that SJM pulled from like America's own dark history, and not just America. This is such a common theme throughout the world with like slavery and stuff like that, and how slaves are viewed as property, and even like after emancipation and a war being fought to free them, the issue of inequality and racism is always perpetrating our society, and it's literally been like almost 2 centuries. I put decades on here. It's been way more than 2 decades. 2 centuries since the Civil War, and it's still an issue.
Yeah, and maybe it's a good little. It just makes me remember that like Prithian also has their very like strong hierarchical structures, and we can see that like change is slow, especially for the Fae. Like when you're living forever basically, right? It can be hard for people to like face those things that they like grew up in,
right,
even if they're not right.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, Feyre is going to ask her sisters to help patch the wall, and Reese is inviting every High Lord to a meeting.
And that's where we left off.
So you have a little connecting the cosmos for us.
I do. So they mentioned that Miriam, who she wasn't a queen. Well, she became Dracons, right? They like took their little.
Yeah, but she was
a human.
She was
human
half
slave.
human.
Oh, yes.
Half human, half Fae. Right?
Yes.
From the beginning.
No, she wasn't. She was only human, because they mentioned that Miriam was resurrected and made like Feyre.
I think she was.
No,
half
she was.
Fae.
You're right. She was half
but
Fae.
she like was mostly mortal. Yeah. I'm just using your knee as a
You're good.
pillow. Thank you.
So they mentioned that Miriam was resurrected and made like Feyre with an object made from the cauldron itself, and I'm thinking, is this from like the horn from like Crescent City?
Okay,
or I guess the horn can it resurrect people?
I don't know, but I know you asked this question before you finished Crescent City 3, and obviously I'm only a couple hundred pages in, but we get a lot of talk about the trove objects and the horn from Silver Flames and the horn from Crescent City. So I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if it's one of those objects.
One of them.
Isn't the mask?
The mask raises the dead, but they're dead.
They're still dead. Yeah.
And then what's the other one?
The harp and the crown. The crown makes people follow their will.
Mm-hmm.
And then
The harp can transport you places.
Yes, yeah.
But the horn can also transport.
The horn
can do all.
did something. Yeah, it like opens a portal. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't understand that one. Yeah.
Anyway, very interesting. Maybe there's another object out there that can raise the dead.
Who knows?
Okay, we also have a little Interprithian era.
Shout out Taylor.
Shout out Taylor, new album coming
Woo-woo!
out. I'm
It'll be
very
exciting.
excited. I know. I love how she tricked everyone by changing her profile picture to like black and white. And so everyone was like, yeah, it's going to be Reputation, you know, Taylor's version.
Oh, right. Everyone's
she was
like anticipating it.
Joke's on you, honey. It's a whole new album.
And everyone lost their minds.
I love it. So, Lucian and Vera,
Mm-hmm.
out of the woods.
Literally. Literally. Are we out of the woods yet? Are we out of the woods yet? Are we out of the woods?
Are we in the clear?
Nope, you're not.
You're not.
You're never.
Eris is right there.
They're literally never. These people are never out of the woods.
They really aren't. They're always getting in trouble.
Always something going wrong. Ugh.
And then for Tamlin, Castle's Crumbling, which is a newer song, newer release from Speak Now, Taylor's version.
Yes.
So his castles are crumbling around him.
Yeah. Like, not his literal walls, but everything else is.
Yeah. His whole court.
Oh, I feel bad, but I don't feel bad.
I know.
I have mixed feelings. Yeah. Anyway. Okay. We have a new segment called We Have Questions from the Children. And this is referring to children of the blessed.
I love it.
Because aren't we all just the children of the blessed wanting to access the fae?
Yes.
Yes, we are. We would all willingly go into the cauldron.
Yeah.
100%. If you're listening and you wouldn't, let us know why.
Yeah.
I'm curious. All right. So one of the children reached out to Katie with a question.
Yes, my friend Jackie, shout out Jack. She asked, what do you think the importance of the Starlight Pool at the Spring Court is? Because it is very interesting that the Spring Court has like starlight, like night.
Yes.
A pool of it. And I guess some people think it has like some connection to like Reese's mom and sister, but they don't really know how it could be like connected.
I heard a wild theory on TikTok.
Oh, I'm ready.
And I think this gal had shared more about it, but I didn't dig into old videos. So her assumption is that it's a portal and that Tamlin and Reese's sister were actually mates. And that Tamlin helped his sister escape through that portal, and now she's somewhere, and that like maybe we'll get her somewhere in the universe.
That's really cool.
Multiverse.
That's really cool.
I love that theory.
I don't think it's true.
Me neither. I don't think Tamlin. I just don't.
No, I don't. I feel like he would have mentioned if he had a mate or something.
But maybe he's protecting her. Like he's like sworn to protect her forever. But I just don't know. I truly believed he loved Farah, and I don't think he would love again if he was in that situation, knowing his mate was still alive.
Yeah, I agree. I wonder if it could be like a portal to the Night Court.
Ooh.
They have portals. I mean, they have like the like caves that like take them, right?
Yeah.
I wonder if it could be like something
like that. But they swam in it. Maybe you have to like swim to the bottom or something.
I don't know. It's very interesting.
Yeah. But I really like that theory.
Me too. That is really cute.
And that I think they said like now she's in the Crescent City world or something.
That'd be crazy.
I can't remember who she said she would be. I don't know.
I'm trying to think if there's a female that like kind of looks like Reese, like dark hair or blue eyes or like power of darkness or anything. And I feel like there isn't any.
There's not a ton of females in Crescent City.
There really isn't.
Bryce, the Hind, Hypaxia, the dragon. But like the dragon and Hypaxia,
they're minor.
Minor.
Yeah.
I don't even know. I'm assuming Jessica comes back, but even she was minor up until then.
True.
And then Celestina, the archangel, but she's minor. Like it's only even the Hind was like minor until
now,
like the end of the second book, and now it's always been Bryce. And I'm like, she needs her girls. June and Fawn or whatever. June and
Fury.
Fury, thank you. Because June is a fawn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. She needs some gal pals.
She does need some girl power. She lost her
Nesta's
she could be
her new BFF. I think they'd get along really well.
I think so too.
Okay. The next episode we will cover chapters 17 through 23. Follow us on all the social medias.
Social medias.
The podcast I used to listen to and say that.
That's really funny.
Always in my head.
TikTok at It's Fate Pod.
Podcast.
Yes.
At It's Fate Podcast.
Yes. Instagram and YouTube at It's Fate Pod.
Yes. And rate, review, and subscribe.
Bye.
Bye.